Hi, everybody. Welcome to Conversations with Calvin, We the Species, and yet another day in the life of Calvin and what I've been doing with the Garden State Film Festival, with actors, animators, because I'm talking to Sophie Genovese-Mester, an animator. I'm talking to directors and musicians. It's been a wonderful, wonderful experience for me, somebody whose life has been changed by film. And I've been involved as a journalist with the Garden State Film Festival for no decade, maybe more, and it's a great part of my life because it is an indie festival, and I'm an indie author. I always show people I'm an indie author. There's a tortoise in my hair, Journey to Spirit. Uh, that's an indie book with a Kirkus star. So, and Sophie and I just got acquainted for a long time. We've been talking for a long time, Sophie, and
hmm
and my mind is has expanded beyond because Sophie is an animator, and we're going to talk about that. And went to school for that, and her film Deer Season has quite an amazing story. And as an environmentalist and a climate person who's been interested in this stuff since the first Earth Day, April 22nd, 1970, some of the theme of this just fits so perfectly. And you completely blew me away when we were talking, Sophie. Uh,
Oh, that's great to hear. Thank
yeah,
you.
no, truly on what this film is about and the message and everything about it. So, folks, this is one really special kind of interview, and it's funny. I didn't know what to expect when you sent me the stuff, but I'm so thrilled by what you've done with this. So this is a great interview. Anyway, I'm done with my monologue. Sophie, why don't you introduce yourself, do a little quick bio. It has to be
hmm
quick because you're not 30 or 40 or 50 or 60 years old, so it's a quicker bio.
Yeah.
And then we're going to talk about deer season. Take it away.
hmm So, hey everyone, I'm Sophie Genovese-Mester. I am a visual development artist and animator currently based in Central Jersey. I was born and raised in Marlborough, right now in Freehold. And I went to the Savannah College of Art and Design down in Georgia for animation. Um, I worked on the short film Deer Season as the art director, sort of like assistant director, but mostly focused on the visual look of the film. I also co-wrote the film, I edited the film, I helped composite the film, and basically was there right from the beginning along with our director Ashley, who came up with the original pitch and the original idea. But I worked alongside with her to develop and finalize the story. And I'm super excited to be here. I'm a big fan of the Garden State Film Festival. I actually attended back when I was in high school. I started out as a high school filmmaker back in Howell High School in their entertainment technology program. I worked on a bunch of short films there. I had, I think, one or two films back in the teen high school section of Garden State Film Festival, and I loved it. So I was super, super excited to see our film be accepted. But yeah, that's just a little bit about me.
Okay, which is great. I mean, your whole young life has
hmm
been involved in the high school stuff and has been involved in this journey, the animation. Uh, um, and I to me it's a wow. But let's so tell me, what is deer season about? Let's tell everybody what this is
Yes.
about.
So, Deer Season is a 3-minute long short animated film that we created as our senior capstone back in SCAD. Um, it is 2D animated and 3D animated all together. It's a hybrid film. It is about a pair of sibling bounty hunters, an older sister Lucia and her younger brother Marco. They live in a post-apocalyptic city which has been destroyed thanks to environmental destruction and climate change. They live in a world where they have been getting reports of some kind of a monster, some kind of a creature stealing food and causing chaos amidst the city. So the pair of siblings go out on a chase to try and capture this monster. Um, at night. So as they're chasing the monster, they can't really see it. It's a shadow. They don't know what it is. When they finally catch the monster in a trap, the sun rises and they find that it's just a regular deer, just a normal run-of-the-mill animal deer that we would know today. But to them, because they live in a world that's been destroyed by climate change, they don't know what a deer is. They still think it's a monster. They don't recognize it because they've never seen anything like it. But because they realize that the creature is innocent, they let it go, and we see it walk away. And we see that the world has been destroyed by climate change, but after all this time, nature is starting to return. Animals and plants are slowly coming back into this world because even though things seem depressing and dark these days, there will always be hope. And hopefully, if we all work together and we show a little bit of kindness like they did towards the deer, there will still be hope and things will be okay in the future. That's all we can do these days, but we thought that was an important message to show with our short film.
By the way, I'm overwhelmed because, well, I'm overwhelmed because basically, you just talked for 3 minutes,
I know.
the whole length of your animated. Wow, and it must be pure artistry. I haven't
I
seen it
hope
yet.
so.
Well, it
We put a
has to be
lot
pure
into it.
artistry to tell that kind of a story in that time frame.
I know.
Thank
Well,
you.
as I was saying to you before, we actually had that time limit imposed to us by SCAD. The way it works is when you're an animation major, for everyone's senior year, people break into groups of 10, um, and you create a short film for your senior project over the course of a full year. And there's certain rules for that. And one of the big rules that everyone has to follow is that the film has to be 3 minutes, not a second over. So we had this big idea that our amazing director Ashley pitched and came up with, and we had to figure out how to fit it in the time frame. But I feel like in a lot of ways, when you have such a constraint, it causes you to really pick out the most important parts of the story and really have them shine. I feel like if it was much longer, it could have just ended up being repetitive or just dragging on. It really taught us the importance of pacing and also just cutting stuff out of your script that's not important. I think, we could have made it longer if we wanted to. Like, I think there's a lot that we could say with this story, but I think the time limit was good. And also, because animation is so time consuming, you it took us a full year to just make 3 minutes. So it was a lot to put into such a short time frame just because of the amount of work that it took. So yeah.
Buddy, you see I'm writing, I'm taking notes. Taking notes. I'm listening to you, I'm taking notes. I'm a very unusual interviewer. I take notes.
Well, that's good. I'm always taking notes too, so
Yeah,
I
yeah.
get that.
I guess it's the students still stuck inside me.
hmm
So,
I just graduated and I still feel like a student in a lot of ways just in my
hey,
life.
I was in school for 6 years,
hmm
pharmacy, and I transferred schools and I lost a year and of course I wanted to be in school back in those days because there was
hmm
going on in Southeast Asia called Vietnam.
hmm
You're in school, you don't have to go to Vietnam. So I just stayed in school. It's funny. So after 6 years of school, it's a lot of school, uh, I just had to go back. So
Yep.
I took a course that following September after graduating in May. I took a course in psychopharmacology of all things. But anyway, um, so remind me who wrote this.
So it was a mix between me and my director, Ashley Wadsworth. She came up with the original pitch and idea for it, but the two of us came together and we sat and we wrote the script together. So it was a joint effort between the two of us.
So your minds to create this story, um, I think it's brilliant. I mean,
Thank you.
honestly,
Well,
like,
I can't take all the credit in a lot of ways. The original idea will always belong to Ashley, and so much of it is her and her passion, especially for the environment. If she didn't go into animation, she wanted to potentially be an environmental scientist. That was her original passion before it turned to art. Um, but she put a lot of that knowledge and a lot of that love for the environment into the film. And I was mostly there to just help support and bring that vision to life in a lot of ways. But really, the true visionary behind this, I gotta say, is Ashley. She worked her ass off on this.
Wow. What a, I mean, just a brilliant story, brilliant
Thank you.
imagination of what a post-apocalyptic world would look like. Yeah, uh, are there particular reasons why you wanted to tell this story? Obviously, you care about climate change.
Yeah, well, continuing kind of what I was saying about, you know, just me and Ashley telling this story. Of course, like I said, she has always cared about the environment. It's always been a big passion of hers. And at SCAD, we have a process where people who are interested in directing have to pitch the film. And she pitched it, and it got enough votes from people to be made. And as we delved into it further, the two of us, we had a lot of discussions about the themes and what we want to come through in this story. And building off the theme of the environment, which I already talked about how that was something that she studied and that was very near and dear to her heart. We also wanted to have a more personal human component to the film, which was sort of something that I helped to add. The two main characters are Lucia, who's an older sister. She's probably mid 20s, she's an adult, and her little brother Marco, who is a wannabe bounty hunter. He just kind of follows her around and is the main character of this story. He's like about 14, 15. And another big part of why we wanted to tell this story was just showing the relationship between two siblings. I'm a younger sister. Ashley is also a younger sister. We both love our siblings, and both of us, I think, have that little sister attitude towards us where we love our older siblings and we want to be like them. And we wanted to put that into the story too, because we felt that that was just important to us and personal to us and something that we wanted to show. But also just everything about um, animals, the importance of nature, and just the relationships between family. Those were sort of what drove us to tell this specific story.
Wow. It's funny. Not funny, but I'm sitting here talking to you, and sometimes I don't drift away, but sometimes I'm saying to myself, I'm talking to a 35, 40-year-old. So I'm paying you a compliment.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, because our dialogue here, I'm an old timer, and your dialogue is has depth and breadth and experience and
Thank you.
yeah, and that's and you know what? It's a nice quality to have. Uh,
Thank you. That's really meaningful to hear. That
yeah,
means a
I'm
lot.
serious. Maybe I have I have sometimes I can't help it. You get these stereotypical views
Hmm.
of your generation,
Yeah.
doing
I
this,
get I
doing
understand
that,
those views. I
and
see it every day.
yeah, but then you're so grounded and you create Deer Season because it's got such a powerful story. Gosh, so it's great stuff. What would you
Thank
like to
you.
see audiences take away from this?
Well, of course, everything about the environment, just mainly, I think, the fact that we can't take this world for granted. Like, we see deers and birds and plants and even like undesirable animals like rats or mice or frogs, whatever, every single day. And I think we take a lot of that for granted. Like, we don't really look and see how beautiful and how important all of that is. And, if we keep going with the way that we are, the way that we're treating our environment, one day all those animals and all the plants and everything are going to be gone. And we could be in a world where people don't know what a deer is. It's all very, very real. And we have to understand how important all of that is and not take it for granted.
Great. That's great. Um, I'm trying to process. Uh, uh, this is 3 minutes,
I
not a
know.
second, not a second more, yet it took you a year. Uh,
Yeah,
so can you just do a little quick overview of the whole process of doing this over the course
sure.
of a year?
So it all began back in our junior year of school, which was 2023. We had a whole process where everyone who was interested, we pitched our ideas, and they got voted on, and Ashley's got enough votes, obviously. But then we had to put together our team of 10 people. And at SCAD, there's such a wide breadth of people within the animation major. Because you hear animation and you think just one thing, but within our major, we have about four different subsets. We have people who are visual development and concept for animation majors, which is what me and Ashley are. We have people who do 2D animation, people who do 3D animation, and then we also have people who do technical animation, which is a specific subset of 3D where they basically do all the technological stuff, creating 3D models, rigging, all this complicated stuff. I don't even fully understand it. So, but for our film, because it's 2D and 3D, we needed all people from all four of those majors. We needed more concept people, we needed 2D, 3D, and of course for us most important was technical. And we needed to convince people to come join our team, and we needed 10 people, and if we did not get 10 people, our film would be cut. We wouldn't be able to make the film. So it was a very, very, very stressful time getting people together, meeting people, talking to people, networking really. We had whole event recruitment events to get people together. And in the end, we ended up with an incredible team. We had everyone we needed. Big shout out to our technical animator, Cassidy Overman, who without her, the film would not exist. We needed her, and she rose to the occasion. She went above and beyond. But from there, the summer break before our senior year was a lot of pre-production. That was when me and Ashley wrote the script together. We went through a long process of we actually changed a lot of stuff from her original pitch. In her original idea, it was just about Marco and the deer, and Marco would have been a lot older. But we had the idea of splitting that character into two to have it be an older sister and younger brother, because we thought it would add more interest. We would be able to have dialogue, and be able to show a lot more information and also explore the themes of a sibling relationship, which was important to both of us. We designed the characters, we designed the world, and then we went into our first semester. SCAD is broken into 3 semesters for us, so or quarters. And our first quarter was a lot more pre-production, finalizing everything, getting everything ready to go into the actual animating process. And going into our second quarter, that by then we had all of our 3D models, everything all ready to go, and it was a lot of animation from our animation team. And this whole process really showed me just how long everything takes. Like when you look at any movie, any animated movie, every single thing has to be created from scratch. So when you look at a background and you see a building, first someone had to sketch that building, then someone had to design that building, then it had to be modeled, then it had to be textured, then it had to be rendered, and it had to be placed somewhere. Every single little thing that you see in these films, it takes an incredible amount of effort.
Wow.
And moving on, then we went into our post-production phase, which was finishing up animation, compositing, editing, putting everything together, and rendering, which a lot of people don't understand that, and I didn't understand it going into it. when you animate something in 3D, it's not finished with just the animation in the software. You can't just click save and it's done. It has to go through a bunch of supercomputers that basically add on the lighting and the textures and the way everything looks. And it spits it out into individual frames, which then need to be put together into the final film.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of computer power, and luckily SCAD has that for us. But the issue is that it can take hours for something to render. And if one little thing is wrong, it will mess up the entire thing. So stuff needs to be re-rendered and redone over and over and over again until it's perfect. Um, and we even had a bump where in our very last semester of school, um, a huge amount of our film was on a hard drive, and the hard drive corrupted, and we almost lost our entire film
You don't
within
back, did
2 weeks of the
you didn't
final
back it,
deadline.
you didn't back it
It
up?
was which a lot of it was backed up, but a lot of stuff that we had just been
Oh,
doing was not, which was our bad. It was on our computer. And because of the size of the files, it would have taken like hours upon hours to back every single thing up. So we thought it was okay to have some files just on the hard drive, but it corrupted, and we had to send it off to get fixed,
wow.
and we had to pay a lot of money to get it back. So
Wow.
I like to say we're probably the most expensive SCAD capstone in history just because of that one hiccup.
Wow.
But we got everything back, everything was recovered, and everything is now backed up and safe. But that was a lot of emotional turmoil. And at the end of the day, after being absorbed and being sucked into this world for a full 12 months, you get a little 3-minute film, which is crazy because it really made me understand like why a feature film takes years and years and years. Like every animated film that you see, it takes so many years. Like I can't even wrap my head around it, but it also gave me a lot of understanding and respect for 3D animation, CGI, because nowadays a lot of stuff is CGI and a lot of people complain like, "Oh, this is so low effort, it's CGI, like that's nothing." And I'm guilty of saying that too, and there's some circumstances where it's overused, but this really made me understand like how much work it takes. It takes just as much work and just as much man hours as anything else in animation. Like the people that do it are insanely smart and insanely technically talented. And it really just gave me such a full understanding and full respect for the entire pipeline. But that's kind of how three
Huh.
minutes took an entire year.
Wow. My goodness.
It's a
One
lot.
one quick question off topic, listening to
Mm-hmm.
you and uh my awareness for the world of AI. Because
Mm-hmm.
by the way, I use AI all day long.
Oh, wow.
I mean, I ask AI what kind of clouds are in the sky today.
Mm-hmm.
What should I wear? I mean, I'm asking AI a lot of stuff,
Yep.
and it's been I have a couple different things I actually pay for now, and but I think. But let
Mm-hmm.
me ask you: do you foresee AI helping you along, helping animators along, making things a little easier?
So here's the thing is that AI is a tool. AI is something that has existed for a very long time. What people don't understand a lot of the times, I think, day to day, is that generative AI and just AI in general are different things. And within the softwares that we use, like Maya and our rendering softwares and everything, there is artificial intelligence in the software, but that is something that humans use and humans develop and humans work with to create something that is human made. So AI is baked into so many different things, but generative AI, as in AI art, when people type something in and art comes up, I don't think that there's any way that it could possibly replace what we do, because, all of that in the first place is taken from stuff that people have created and mushed together and spit out. So that all comes from human beings in the first place. But I do think that the heart and soul of everything that is done is always going to be by people. And I don't think there's any possibility that it could replace what we do. But as a tool moving forward, I think that it's really interesting to explore and see how it can be used by people to enhance the work that we make. But the problem is that a lot of studios and big companies, they hear about AI and their instant thought is, okay, how can we use this to replace people? How can we use
Uh-huh.
this to fire people? Which, in my opinion, will never make anything better and is never going to work. But luckily, with stuff that is done by independent companies, independent filmmakers, that I think is how people are going to use AI rather as a tool than as something to replace because I feel like independent people, they really value filmmakers for who they are, while a lot of companies just see us as a number or something to cut. So I think it's a very nuanced and fascinating issue
Yeah,
that is going to change and expand over the next couple of years. And it's changing every single day. So we're
correct.
going to have to see what happens. But I just, in general, think it will be a tool, but not something that can replace what we do. But we'll see what happens.
Yep. Every day a change. Um,
Yep.
Off topic, I have a great journalistic question
Hmm.
I like to ask. You don't
Yeah.
necessarily you don't necessarily have to answer it. I like the question. I borrowed it from a wonderful journalist she's always been an idol of mine. All right, here's the question.
Hmm.
Excluding family or friends, somebody living
Hmm.
or dead you'd like to spend a day with.
I love that question.
Oh, good.
Um, that makes me nervous because I feel like I'm gonna say something wrong or like say
No,
the wrong
nothing
like
is
I feel
wrong.
like there's not something wrong, but I feel like there's so many options that I could think through. Ooh, that I don't know if I'm gonna be able to say the best possible answer. But for some reason, the only thing coming to my mind is Greta Gerwig. My favorite director. She directed Lady Bird, which is my favorite movie. And she directed Barbie and Little Women. For some reason, that is what comes to mind.
Great.
But
Good
if I
answer.
had to pick living or dead, um, maybe I would pick. Does it have to be a human? Can I pick a
Well,
dinosaur?
hey, you want to go in with a Brontosaurus or T-Rex? Be my guest. Hey, sure.
Well, there's so many dinosaurs, we don't know for sure what they looked like, if it had feathers or not. So maybe I would pick a dinosaur so I could bring it to some scientists so we can know for sure what a dinosaur looks like.
We talked
But
about
I'm
that
sure that
before.
there's a better answer I could possibly have.
You did fine, Sophie. That's perfectly fine.
Those are the two things that come to mind is Greta Gerwig and dinosaurs. So if that gives
Yeah,
you a look into how my
yeah.
mind works.
I was talking yesterday in one of my interviews. We were talking about Greta Gerwig,
Hmm.
what she's done as an amazing,
I love her.
as
That's
a,
my dream to just talk to her. I love her so much.
as a pioneer, for sure.
Hmm.
And she's so good at what she does. It's great.
I
Kind of winding down. There's so much here. I'm trying to look at my notes and trying to. By the way, do you have a couple of favorite movies? I'm always like to ask that too.
Yes. So my favorite movie right now, I think, is Lady Bird. Um, but my one of my favorite animated movies is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. I actually have a poster of it right behind me in my room. That was a big inspiration for our film, the way it mixes 3D animation with a 2D feel. It makes it look like a comic book, which was a big inspiration for our film. I also love Lilo and Stitch. But I also, as for live action, my other favorite movies are probably Legally Blonde. I love But I'm a Cheerleader. I love Jennifer's Body. I love a lot of just campy, fun female-led films. Right now, those are some of my favorites. Oh, and also Marcel the Shell with Shoes On. That's my other favorite film, and that's an indie A24 film.
Okay.
I think those right now are my top ones, but I'm sure later I'm gonna be thinking and being like, oh, I forgot one.
That's
So,
fine. You're
but
not
right now, those are my favorites.
fine. Perfect, perfect. Um, this year-long process
hmm
you talked about, were there any kind of favorite moments and things, stories and moments from this process that you're always going to remember?
So many, because we got so lucky with our team, with 10 people. A lot of these people, we had no idea who they were going into this. Like we met them at recruitment and we just took a chance and we signed them onto our film. And for some teams, from what we've heard from our friends and stuff, that caused issues and problems with people. But like, there's always drama, there's always fighting, but we got so lucky with our team. We all really became a family by the end of it. And just a lot of the memories that I'm gonna remember forever are those nights when we got together and just hung out and did stuff completely unrelated to the film and just got to know each other and played games. But and also the moments when we were at the animation building working until midnight, 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m., and just being together with each other. And even though we were all like, tired and working hard and burnt out, just being together with them and being all on the same page, and feeling the same feeling, but knowing that the person next to me has my back no matter what. Um, it's just incredible. So shout out to, I'm going to try to remember everyone's names off the top of my head, which I know everyone's names, but I'm going to make sure I name everyone really quick. So, my entire team, Ashley Wadsworth, Via Sillins, Casty Overman, Sydney Shannon, Elena, Layla, M, Cameron, Chandler, and who am I missing? Oh, me, our entire team of 10 people. Um, oh, Elena George is her last name. Layla Zhao, Cameron Hickenbottom, Chandler Wiley. I'm probably forgetting someone's last name. I just wanted to make sure everyone gets and M. Dawson. Want to make sure everyone gets a proper shout out. And then also the memory of our hard drive breaking was the most traumatic memory, but also something I'm gonna remember for the rest of my life. The way we all came together and the way we all worked hard to make sure that the film got done despite that circumstance. Um, I'm always gonna remember every moment of it. Like we got so lucky and like I don't know, there isn't a single experience I would have wanted instead. I think it was just so worth it and I miss them all and I love them all. So,
Well, that's a nice tribute, and that's a good way to kind of wrap a
hmm
little session up, which was a very precious session for me because you've taken me into a new world that I had no clue about. Uh,
Yeah, a lot of people they don't know and going into this I didn't know. Like I learned so much and it's exciting to get to talk to people and kind of share the process because there's so much that you have no idea goes on just to make something so short. So I
it's
really appreciate you having me on today and talking to me about this. It's been so much fun. It's been
well,
so great talking to
fun for me
you.
too, and I think we talked before we went on air. You know, we can open up some doors and some connections and
hmm
some future collaborations because your world is really fascinating, and I certainly had no clue that 3 minutes equals 1 year.
I
So
know.
that's an
Yes.
illuminating thing for me. So Sophie, I thank you. Officially welcome you to come back. Uh,
Yes, I'd love to.
yeah, and I'm going to stop recording now. You and I'll do a 2 minute wrap.
Yes.
Thank you,
Thank you
Sophie.
so
And good
much.
luck at GSFF next week.
Thank you. And hopefully I'll see you there and I'll see some people there. But yeah, thank you so much.
Thanks, Sophie.